Hello everyone, welcome to Resenha BJJ, and today guys I'm gonna tell the truth about being a Jiu-Jitsu professor. So guys, if you don't know me yet, I'm Marcio Anthony and I teach Jiu-Jitsu for a couple years. I trained Jiu-Jitsu for 14 years already and teaching more than 7 or 8 years. And I already teach in Brazil, I teach in the US and now here in Canada too. So I kind of have some experience to teach in the different places for different people and a different language. And I want to contribute for you if you want to be a Jiu-Jitsu professor. I'm gonna answer some questions I would like to know or I didn't have on the time when I was being a Jiu-Jitsu professor. So I want to create this video to help you improve your skills to maybe teach or maybe help in the gym for be a Jiu-Jitsu professor or to be at least a coach. So guys, let's start here with the first question. Catherine is gonna give the question. So Catherine, can you give me the first question, please?
Okay, what did you love about being a Jiu-Jitsu professor?
Well, what I really love to be a Jiu-Jitsu professor is the capacity to teach someone something new or something they really want to know or something they don't expect. I remember people say, oh, I cannot do this technique, or this techniques are too harder, or the technique's not like a fit well or not adjust well. And then I come like with different methodology to explain different ways for the persons understand this position. I think that's what I most like is make someone learn something new or improve the skills and see the progression of the persons and how the developments for the persons in Jiu-Jitsu is. I think that's the most enjoy thing or teaching Jiu-Jitsu is I see persons progress.
What was the worst part about being a Jiu-Jitsu professor?
Oh, that's easy. I think is when you are just teaching all the time, when you're full-time on this, like all your energy and your time, be a Jiu-Jitsu professor is you kind of lost your hobby. You not have a hobby anymore. Now you are full-time to teaching Jiu-Jitsu, manage the gym, take care about the students over there. And I think that's one of the most annoying thing is you kind of not gonna enjoy Jiu-Jitsu that much. You're gonna be in a different phase on your life on Jiu-Jitsu. It's not like not gonna be like before when you just go to the gym and train with your friends and then buy and say, man, I did really well that position and I have a really good trainer, or man, I have to do better next time. I'd be submitted like a bunch of times. When the Jiu-Jitsu professors come and you'd say, man, I have to explain the technique better. I have to do this for that students have mistakes over there. I have to, next class or next time I see this person, I have to figure it out. So I think that's the most sad part to be a Jiu-Jitsu professor is you're not gonna have that much fun anymore. You're gonna have a different fun, but it's not the same one when you was just training.
And Marcio, where can Jiu-Jitsu professors get the best rash guards and shorts?
That's an easy question, guys. Don't forget to go to fainlinksfc.com and use the coupon Resenha to get $5 off on your order. Promise the best rash guards and the best shorts. You're gonna wear in Jiu-Jitsu, looking good, fits well, and don't forget to get the long sleeves. Pro tip for you.
Okay then. So did teaching Jiu-Jitsu affect how you trained Jiu-Jitsu?
Oh, for sure. What I can tell you is when you're just training, you don't have too much responsibility to do everything perfect or how smooth the position is. But after you be teaching so much time the position, you understand all the steps and how make these positions really well. So you kind of like a sharp your techniques, your skills, or you have more knowledge exactly what you can do on that situation. I don't say you're gonna be like a superstar or like a super competitor, but for sure the mindset you have in be a professor and just a regular person training for fun or a competitor is totally different. So yes, I think that's one most part of the thing is like you'll be more critical about when you move or when you're gonna do something.
So you could say that explaining techniques and teaching Jiu-Jitsu actually improve how you perform in sparring.
Oh, for sure. Yes, for sure. It's like you're teaching this a bunch of times so you know exactly the steps. You can explain for yourself inside your mind. As basic as this.
Okay, so did teaching Jiu-Jitsu change how you feel about Jiu-Jitsu in a positive or a negative way?
Yes. Change a lot how I think about Jiu-Jitsu. I think the positive way is see the community of Jiu-Jitsu growing, like you set up a new lifestyle on the people's life, or you teaching people how to defend themselves, or at least like get like over things, like maybe people have some difficulty to express themselves. Like me, like when I started like I was like a little chubby when I was teenager. I was really shy too. So when I learned Jiu-Jitsu, I get like I pass over these things. I can like I have like a self-development on these things. So that's one of the positive ways to be a Jiu-Jitsu professor. And one of the negative ways is you will, like I said before, not enjoy as a hobby. Again, I think that's the worst part to be a Jiu-Jitsu professor. But I have another question there we're gonna answer later, how you fix this. So that's always gonna be the negative part, is you don't have so much fun anymore.
Okay then, so if you're a Jiu-Jitsu professor who is now feeling like their hobby is now turning into their job and they're losing passionate, so tell us, how would you fix that?
So I think the main problem to this is when you're a full-time professor, when you in the morning and close the gym Monday to Saturday, and no time to really do your own part thing. Like you're gonna be training during the week, but it's not the same. So what I recommend for a person's feeling like this is like reduce the much classes you are teaching and share with the other person's responsibility. Share with a coach, or share this with another professor. And that means like reduce the days you are teaching and set up the day to just train and have a fun. You cannot be the main person on the mat. You cannot be the persons everybody expect the answers or expect to run the class. I think that's one of the things people most fail to be a Jiu-Jitsu professor. You see, of course, you have like the professors always training on the class and everything, but when you really see this, is this kind of persons like still the hobby is nice and still Jiu-Jitsu professor, they have a side job, they have another job what they can like really get the money, or another worries about, and you're not like just worry about be better professor or have an amazing class every time.
Okay, so following up on that, martial arts as a whole is famous for not making a lot of money. Can you tell us if a Jiu-Jitsu professor can make a comfortable living?
Yes, you can make a comfortable living. Gonna be a little bit harder because, again, you have to understand you have a new job. It's like it's gonna be your job. It's not gonna be something you just do for fun. So you have to get like be successful and comfortable life. You have to worry about way more things. You have to worry how many students you have, or how your gym is clean, how the market your gym is going. You are doing really good relationship with leads. You answer the leads good. You have a kids class, because kids classes are for sure one of the main things for you have more incomes on your gym. It's small people on the class, so that means the numbers of students is way bigger. It's not that serious. It's not like not much drama too. So kids class for sure is one thing you have a focus if you want to have a more comfortable life on Jiu-Jitsu. But also too, kids like consume energy so much. God, like I teach one kids class is almost the same as teach of a 3 adults class. So you have always to manage this. So it's one thing to be on the paper. Yes, I want you really get more money doing Jiu-Jitsu, or I just want you money enough. Have so much kind of gyms on here. Yes, like you have the gyms just have like the couple dudes going training there, and probably the professor don't make that much money because they're just like a bunch of adults there, and have all the gyms like have a curriculum, have a specific class for specific people, have a kids class, have all the programs, they do seminars, they organize tournaments. So I believe more you do in Jiu-Jitsu, more money you're gonna have in your pockets, on your wallet on of the day, but it's also too way more stress, way more work, way more things you have to think, not just be on the mats and teaching Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay, here's another question for you. Were there differences between teaching in Canada, Brazil, and America?
That's easy. Let's start with Brazil. It's the one I have lots of experience, the place I grow in. On Brazil, the people there, the Jiu-Jitsu people, they were more teammates, and they are way more fanatic for the Jiu-Jitsu history, the legends we have, and everything's so dedicated and so easy to put a fire on. But also until the people there like training way more harder, or like at least trying to be like a way more efficient for the perfect things than I see here in the US and Canada. And why I say this is when you go for Jiu-Jitsu class in Brazil, on the go to sparring time, you really go to sparring time. You're not going just to do a drills or do some things like everything's allowed, like and everything's is personal. Is like we always like be nice with people. Of course, you have problems sometimes on the mat, but not that much. So Brazil, more history Jiu-Jitsu, more culture and the teammates. Yes, like the teams battles is a way more deep in Brazil. If you get the ABJJF, you're always gonna see like the Brazilian teams fight against each other and like have a nice competition over there. And like when you go to compare with like a US team or American team or a Canada team, is more like oh, it's just teams there on the tournaments. But Brazilians go like is this gym against this gym, and you're gonna fight for that. On US, I think this sport is like is growing a lot there, and it's like way ahead than here in Canada, to be honest. But on US, the people like always want to know the names, everything. So the how you can say this, the nomenclature, like a
I think the word would be nomenclature.
Nomenclature. So the nomenclature for Jiu-Jitsu is way more deep. Like if you hold your person's foot with this grip is one thing, and if you hold with this grip is another thing. And on Brazil, or it's like hold the foot and on this way, and that's it. So the names of, like I say, on the US and English is a way more specific for this. And also until I see Jiu-Jitsu in US way more like a business than just like a Jiu-Jitsu traditional gym. And in Canada, the thing is going well here, but they think they are on the baby steps yet. I think a lot of people know Jiu-Jitsu is still arriving here and make the community growing, and that's a really good thing, because then we can form the way you want your people there. I remember the time I came in here, and a lot of people do Jiu-Jitsu but say, hey, I train Jiu-Jitsu, but my professor was a blue belt or my professor was a purple belt. So they didn't have like the same opportunities we have in Brazil. We have like a bunch of athletes or black belts already know a long history in Jiu-Jitsu or was doing Jiu-Jitsu for a long time. So here in Canada, it's still baby steps, like I say, and that's a really good thing. And that's only difference I see between the Brazil, US, and the Canada.
Would you recommend someone moving cities or countries to pursue an opportunity as a Jiu-Jitsu professor?
Yes, that's a good question. Is if you want to teach Jiu-Jitsu, you have to learn with somebody, but it's also until you have to create the opportunities to go nowhere as teaching. Because what's the point for you create your gym on the place have like 10 gyms, well stabilization there, or well known in the market, or well known in the neighbor? They have no points. In my opinion, at least, you're just going to like compete with on the other gyms. But if you go for a small city or don't have too much jiu-jitsu and people need this kind of martial art or grappling, I think that's the big opportunity for people starting smaller and grow up and way better. So I think going to the parts don't have too much jiu-jitsu is a good idea, but also until you have to see if this community, what you're thinking to go, will accept jiu-jitsu a lot. So you have to see if the city is just for old people, you don't have too much chance to be successful there. or if the city is just for university people, that's a good opportunity to teach it a lot of people there. But this your public is gonna enter your gym and then gonna getting out so fast too. But if you go to a city where have a lot of kids, like a growing a lot, is not like a too much busy, and the parents still have time to take care of the kids, or the parents take care about the self-defense of the kids. That's one of the things you have to put on the paper for each city you have to decide to go. But for sure, go to another country, go to another place is a good opportunity, but you have to really pick or do at least I don't know how to say, a scan on the city before you actually go there.
Okay, so let's talk about competitors. I think a lot of people assume that because they're good at jiu-jitsu, or they're the best person in the gym, or they're winning all these tournaments, that they would be a good professor. Would you say that you could be a serious competitor and a professor at the same time?
Yes and no. Actually, it's gonna be depend. So these two things are profession. Yes, be a competitor, a really good one, like on the who's going to ADCC or who's number one or another all the big events. That's gonna be totally different. Your life is gonna depend of that fight. So you have to train a lot for that fight. And when you have to train a lot, sometimes you don't have a time to teach in that much. And if you don't have time to teach that much, you'll not be a just professor, yes? But to have one thing, one competitor can do a lot of seminars. But for the person do a lot of seminar, they have to have a really good methodology before. And they just can have in this if they're professor before, or at least a coach before. Because teaching jiu-jitsu is not like how much medals you have on your neck or on your career or on your resume. It's about how you can transmit your information for other person and how you make this person develop themselves better for your thoughts, or at least your experience. So you can do this, but it's gonna be a little bit harder for the both parts, because you put two things like a be a professor and be a competitor fighting at the same time. But if you just compete on the end of the year, or you just compete in like a summer, like a local tournament, and you teach all the classes, I think that's one of the best things. But you're not gonna be a really serious competitor and not a really serious professor at the same time. It's like look like a John Danaher, he's not going to tournament a lot, but he's one of the best coaches or the best professors we have here, and we don't have a superstars. I think the only person who really do this is a Rogers Grace, one of the persons be a super competitor and still teaching, but now he's a retired and just fucking teaching. So it's really hard to jiu-jitsu persons manage be a teacher and a competitor at the same time, but it's possible.
Would you say that being a competitor or having a competition history is a requirement to be a professor?
Nope. I believe one thing. I believe doesn't matter how much experience you have on the competitions. I believe is the knowledge you accumulate for yourself, for give you the techniques or explain yourself or create your own methodology to teach is most important than just have a couple of tournaments on your career, like I said before. I believe not every competitor is a good professor or a good teacher or a good coach, because they are training totally different for giving knowledge for the person. And the same thing, it's really hard. Just one professor was explaining really well, have a really good details, be a good athlete. Why? Because they have spend more time and energy teaching classes or make the gym or the classes growing up. So I believe it's really hard to manage these things at the same time.
How does someone know they're ready to start teaching?
When you want to teach, that's the most important thing. If you want to teach, go ahead. That's what I'm saying for you. If you want to teach, go ahead and do it. Make it. Talk to your professor if you can, like a help day on the class, or if they can be a little bit coach. And if your professor don't like the idea, one extra tip: get your partner on the class and make you be the best partners on the class. You're gonna do the technique perfect. You're gonna explain the technique the professor did already, because that's how you gonna start and create a career methodology. Is that when you have a one-on-one that say, hey, look, you got it here, you got this, the professor said to do this, so do that. Don't be the person just go there, the professor give the technique and say, no man, let's do another thing here. No, do exactly what the professor say, because you are copying the information you have and transmit for another different person, for a different person in another different way. So that's one of the things. If you want to teach, try to teach. Get out your partner, talk to your professor, go to kids class, do something, see how people explain the technique, or how the people don't explain the technique, how you can explain better. It's like this. It's like you have to think off the box. You have to always be outside. You cannot be just the person who is learning. You have to think, I can teach this position on different way, or I can transmit this information a little bit better. I can show this motion a little bit more good for the person, for the people in the class can understand. So I think that's the most important. If you want to teach, do it. Go ahead, my friend, because it's the one thing really enjoy and gonna change your life a lot.
Okay, so then what did you wish someone had told you about teaching Jiu Jitsu when you first started?
Well, what I wish is go ahead, just do it. You're not gonna be like the day you're ready, it's not like a college when you, after 3 years, you're ready to get your degree to teach or go work. It's not like this, guys. If you want to teach, guys, go ahead, try focus there. I think purple belt is a one level really good to start in teaching that, because white belt you're just learning, blue belt you just like a sharp your skills or sharp or understand a little bit more deep. But when you get your purple belt, your professor like you see, you're not like a beginner anymore, you can be helping there, you can do all other things. So if you want to get a tip for me is go there and do it. I know it's gonna be a little bit lost on the beginning, gonna be a little bit harder, have so much people better than you already on the mat, but guess what? These persons started one day, and when they started, they wasn't that level yet, and probably you're on this point. You're not good enough, or you're not have not too much experience there, but you're gonna grow this by the time. So the best time to start teaching is now, when you want to. So that's the best tip for you. Do it right now. Don't be afraid to not be well known or kind of these things.
Okay, so now let's say you are a professor and now you have to create a jiu-jitsu curriculum, which is a huge responsibility and so complex. So how do you decide on what to teach students and when?
Okay, this is really more about feedback and experience you have before. And of course, you have to give a name for the class, yes? Like today you're gonna be a fundamentals class, today you're gonna be advanced class, today you're gonna be kids class, and this class is gonna be a competition class. So you have to tell for all your students what the class you are doing and put on the schedule for they go to the right classes. And how you started? Well, I believe, for example, for beginners, focus on drills, like how to do a good hip escape, how to improve the bridges, and how to do easy submissions should be a prioritized. So that's how I think a fundamentals class should be. Why I say this? Because when you do drills, when you do easy submissions, you create new links on the person's body. For example, drill is gonna make the persons move better in the future. Easy submissions make the persons be ready for advanced class because they already know the basic of every submissions. Or do like a easy sweeps, like a sit-up sweep, pendulum sweep, or scissor sweep. So do the basics. When you go to advanced class, that's gonna be a little bit different. Why? Because the persons on this class should know everything I say before. easy submissions, good drill, move on the classes better. Basic, you explain on the fundamentals class, everything's why. In an advanced class, you explain everything because. So, oh, remember when I did that position was because I want to teach this one. So the new level, you rising up the level of the position, or you teaching different things. So on the advanced class, you're gonna do way more complex submissions or way more complex positions because people there should know the easy positions first, yes? And on the competition class, I can split. Just do it. It's not time to why, it's not time to because, it's time to do it. So it's a rush. Improve your reflex, improve your speed, improve your mindset for do the positions right and more efficient possible. So always have this kind of separation of each level or each class you have and create this gonna be by timing. So that's why I told you start right now, because early you started, more experience you have and more easy to follow these things. And trust me, everybody gonna make a mistake on the class. You're gonna teach one position or the people is not ready, and then you have to adapt it, and then you get a feedback, say, oh, this position is not for this class yet, or is not, or I can't explain this position, it's different. So understand fundamentals, advanced and competition class is totally different things. You have to speak different in every class. So basic this. You have to starting separate by groups. Beginners, advanced, competition, kids class. Basic is this. On the end, everyone's gonna do sweeps, everyone's gonna do submissions, everyone's gonna do breakdown, takedowns, everyone's gonna do drills, but in the different levels.
Okay, bonus question. Who shouldn't become a jiu-jitsu professor?
Who shouldn't? The people don't have a patience to teach. That's basic is this, because trust me, teaching people is a way more harder than lookalikes. And more when you talk about people never do grappling on the life before. It's like it's a challenge actually to teach somebody a new motions when you know it's basically like we have like a deep knowledge for joints or chokes or how to move your opponents around the grounds or move yourself around the grounds. And if you don't have a patience enough to transmit this information for the person, unfortunately, I think you're not ready yet to teach Jiu-Jitsu. So be patient is one of the most important to be a Jiu-Jitsu professor.
So here's another question from Instagram. Have you ever discovered something negative about a professor you admired?
Yes. Back in Brazil, I remember I was a purple belt and have this seminar, and this person was really famous on the gym, and everybody was like excited for this position. But when I was there, I listened to all the people, the guys like already did the seminar saying some things like a weird about this person. And I just like, no, I want to do the seminar, doesn't matter what. But as soon the professor and the master arrived, I don't know if I'm gonna say the name, but as soon they arrived, there was the worst people I've ever seen in Jiu-Jitsu. The ego was so high, they so uncomfortable. You know, there's uncomfortable people when think they are the only persons important in the place. And I think that's how a Jiu-Jitsu professor going to give a seminar arrive in the gym should be. I think the person have to be welcome and friendly and talk to everybody there. And this person was totally different. They don't treat anybody well. The seminar was bad. On the middle of seminar, most like all my teammates don't want to keep in doing anymore and just like, oh yeah, we did, let's go to next position. You just want to finish. So I think that's one thing. Sometimes your idol's gonna break your heart. He wasn't my idol, but he was a person I say, oh, this guy is really famous. They come from a really important family, so I want to learn the secrets of this family, like some things like this. But when he arrived, he like broke all my expectation. He was rude with me and rude with the other students, and that's one thing I learned. I learned something. I learned how to be more polite. I learned how to be more friendly and welcome for the persons there on the mat who want to get my information or my knowledge. So I think that's the only thing bad about the Jiu-Jitsu professor I have met. And guys, thank you so much for watching the videos for here. Me and Catherine is so happy to answer some questions for you who want to be a Jiu-Jitsu professor. Guys, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe here on the channel. Tell me in the comments below if you like the video or all the questions you want to know in the future or all the kind of videos you want to see here on the channel. We are growing here on the channel and I would say thank you for everybody. So guys, thank you so much. I see you in the next video or maybe I see you on the mats.